And here they are, of course. They don't necessarily know their opponent decks, but as we have seen plenty of times already, going first, Kashtira has so many options. Here it starts things off with Ferrir, which isn't necessarily the best, but you'll take it. And let's see if there is a response. What you can do, of course, is get the level 4 Rice Art from the deck. Here we get to the Unicorn, actually. So he might already have access to one of his copies, and he does. So great start here with the birth from Sonnhj. By doing this, he can normal summon without tributing, and now he will be able to access his combo, as we have seen plenty of times. And we will see even more of it, I'm sure, once we get to the latest rounds.
And this is a very good start indeed, because basically if you get to see both a piece and the birth as well, you got to see the Shangri-La coming soon, and here it is.
Yeah, here it is, even the Rice Art on top of it. His opponent is might asking for translations, I feel like. But as you can see here, it has been special summoned. Great addition, and what can you say about Shangri-La? Such a great card. It is one of the reasons why Pendulum has been falling off in popularity, because it locks zones, and as you can see on our beautiful playmat, there are Pendulum zones. Yeah. So if you lock one of them, the Pendulum deck has an impossible time almost with playing out his game. So this is a very unique card. We haven't seen much of this kind of mechanics, I think, ever since Ojamas, I want to say, or something along those lines. And it is definitely cool to see something like this, see an application in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I think the interaction that the deck has is very particular, honestly, and I really like the fact that you get to see a lot of different exquisite monsters in this deck that are really powerful, especially the number 89 Double-Oses.
Yeah, and now we get to see the typical opening with the Big Bang being banished. But the Avnis has been activated by Connor. Let's see if these mills will be good. The instant fusion, definitely not what you want to see, but there is another Avnis, I believe. So, and here, similarly to how Tearlaments interacts with their opponent decks, Kashtira is really good at disrupting it, and of course it's always better to banish cards rather than milling them. And as you can see here, the zones has been blocked by Sonnhj. And yeah, this is Connor with finally able to access a play. Yeah. Let's see what his choice will be, because now there is Ferrir as well. This is definitely an issue we have seen, as Ferrir was the most popular card, we could say, in the past for the Kashtira before the other cards were released. That is still very annoying to deal with it, as he can banish face down. It's gonna activate in a new chain, so at least for now he is safe, but I'm pretty sure Sonnhj will think about his options here.
Especially because I'm checking Connor's X deck and he's only playing one Kid Kalos. So in case Fenrir will be used and then we'll go rid of the Kid Kalos, Connor won't have any other copy left in his deck.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there are a few cards in the deck which allows you to take a look at your opponents and then banish a card. But in this case, duelists are trying to find a solution by playing multiple copies. Instead, it is his opponent who only runs one copy, so this is the last time we are seeing Kid Kalos for this duel at least.
Yeah.
So, as you can see here, Connor still had quite a few resources. He was able to discard a Saliek to special summon the Rhino, and this way he's able to add one of the other addition to the deck, which is the Kashtira Tearlament, and then send the Shirin. So definitely still in this game. He's probably gonna try and go for a Kaleido Art, I want to say.
I think so.
Yeah, that's the goal right here.
And indeed, now he goes for the Shirin in the graveyard and... okay, just goes for Chu, I guess.
Yeah, he quickly decides to go for Shu instead, and will go for a Mad Dragon right away. Probably his goal is to set up in a way where you can access the Zeus next turn, which can be really annoying for Sonnhj's deck. But this seems like the Italian can find a way to continue his combo.
Yeah, because usually the Mad Dragon is the one you really want to banish with the Diablosis when you look up at your opponent extra deck in order just to prevent him for the Zeus play.
And yeah, here we see one of the best cards, the emergency teleport pretty much of this deck, which allows you to just summon another Kashtira from the deck. So you can see why this deck is a thing. Yeah. It is definitely very consistent, and it's still able to play as going first and going second. Also, it can push, especially against unknown matchups. And now we see a free material XYZ summon, definitely something that doesn't come up too often, but it will be the Arise Heart, which, by the way, it's collectible in our playoff area, because it's a giant card for the weekend, so make sure to just grind your points at the public events playoff and try to win it, because it's honestly amazing.
And this is a very good start from Sonnhj, because basically here now in the standby phase of his opponent he will activate the Shangri-La, so he will be summoning another piece from his deck. Here comes the Fenrir. And this is one of the main reasons why Kashtira that has just been released is very, very powerful, honestly, because not only locks your zones, but the Arise Heart acts as a pseudo Macrocosmos, let's say, while Biff is up on the field.
Macrocosmos is so strong, and of course even more against Tearlaments. But now his opponent will try his best to stay in this game. He starts things by just normal summoning, and the Mad Dragon is obviously decent at keeping his field, but he goes right away. Interesting.
Okay.
He decides not to hold, and he goes for the pop, banishing face down the nearly summoned card.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably asking if it's banished face down or face up, and it is face down. And doing so, he can trigger the other effects by banishing even more cards and attaching back a material, which is usually the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Here they're showing a translation. And yeah, just to make sure that everything is clear. So as you mentioned, now both will activate, and Shangri-La will lock another of the zones, getting back that Big Bang. Do you think it was that needed to use it right away, though?
Yeah, I think you could have waited, honestly, to just let your opponent XYZ summon. Because now here you can just go, exactly, for this one, and you're just gonna risk it, right?
Absolutely. But maybe he has a face-down card. Connor is debating just going for a Baguska, even in attack position, to go into the Zeus, as mentioned. But maybe there is an impermanence face-down from Sonnhj. Yeah. I think I did see it, if he's meaning them.
He might be holding a copy of the Infinite Impermanence still. I don't know. I think he might have waited to
he's just trying to push here, but let's see.
Yeah, because now he's under a battle phase.
Yeah.
Does he have Book of Eclipse? Maybe?
I mean, it depends who the target of the attack is. Did you catch if it was the Fenrir?
Yeah,
he does. Interesting. So Book of Eclipse being activated defensively. Here, obviously, he gets the zones back. You see this card being used more offensively later on, but it's still a pretty decent defensive option. Of course, you give your opponent a draw, and even the Baguska is especially annoying. But this works out in the end. And as you can see here, Connor is not just playing pure Tearlaments, but he's playing Kashtira cards of his own, as that is the planet Field Spell, and not just the planet Perle Rhino, it is the pressured planet. So here it is on the screen for you guys.
Yeah, Connor's decklist is pretty peculiar, I would say, because basically he's playing only one copy of Planet alongside with the set rotation. So, and then he plays the Bestial package as well. And now he's going to activate from his end the Tearlaments Kashtira. Let's see what he mills. Oh, Sonnhj has infinite impermanence, as you said. He might be holding that. And I think you will go for the impermanence because your opponent has already normal summon, so it will make sense, honestly, to activate the impermanence here, I think. Yeah,
he's considering it, and he does. So he negates the Tearlaments Kashtira with his impermanence. Yeah, just gonna check some attack points, it seems like. But let's see if Connor has something else that he can do. He has been playing at quite a reasonable speed, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Ooh, and he does have
there's also the
talent.
And he's going to draw through 2 fresh cards. Let's see if he can pick up anything that could help him out, but looks like...
Yeah, he ended his turn.
He ended his turn.
So he ends his turn, and we get even an additional card by the Baguska here. Let's see if Sonnhj will find the correct solution for it. As you can see here, he starts things by just flipping some of his monsters. And there is an interesting out in his deck. There are a few, we can say, as we are gonna see them coming up now.
Yeah. And here comes the Dagger for Hire.
Yep. I mean, you know that Baguska is an issue for the deck, of course. And here, as you can see, the Furrier comes down. It's essentially a Direwolf if you want, but it has to be, yeah, different types. Their opponent are just checking whether that's legal, I guess. Yeah, because they're both psychic, so they have to use a different type to make it.
Yeah, I think that was the issue here, but he could otherwise just flip the Arizer.
Absolutely. Yep. So they're quick to notice, and now I think we can go on. As you mentioned, he can flip the Arizer if he feels like it. Obviously, it would be a little bit of a misstep just because whatever you flip and you're forced to use now, you cannot switch to attack position anymore. But he's gonna go for a tribute summon.
Ah, okay.
Interesting. Wow. Going the tough way just to play around his small misstep, as to normal summon a shifter and then go into, this time, properly summoned Dagger Furrier, who is gonna destroy both itself and the Baguska. His opponent is gonna read it, of course, not something you see every day, I would say. And yeah, this is looking still quite good for the Italian.
Yeah, especially because like there's the birth face up on the field, and then Sonnhj will be able to use burst effect to just special summon one of his Kashtira monsters.
And yeah, it does. It does resolve, and now, as mentioned, he can just flip back the Arizer whenever he feels like that's the right moment. Use the spell to get back a Kashtira, and he's definitely in the driving seat.
Yeah.
So. Because honestly, even the first effect of birth is good enough, allowing you to normal summon another monster, but it's not only that. It's really, really strong.
Let's see if he gets the Unicorn here or the Fenrir.
Yeah, it does so much.
Yeah, because now you can take the Kashtira Theosis.
Yeah, this is really strong for Sonnhj, who will get, as you mentioned, the Kashtira Theosis, allowing him to just special summon back either the Fenrir or another of his monsters. He's also playing one copy of the Scarecrow, which would have been another way to out the Baguska, but didn't need it right here and now. So yeah, he does get the Fenrir, so a lot of advantage from the Italian. And as you can see here, as soon as that card gets banished, he gets to equip it right back with the Rise Art, as it's whenever a card is activated.
Yeah,
so
this is even better because when the Theosis gets banished, he gets back also the Rise Art.
It's so much advantage.
Yeah. Here gets also, as you mentioned previously, the Scarecrow Kashtira, which might help him out sealing this game if he finds this way.
At the worst case scenario, it's an extender. You can use it to XYZ, so it's really strong. You're gonna go for it? Yep.
Yeah.
So he summons the Scarecrow Kashtira now, and will probably use it again to equip a third material, and this could be enough to even push for game.
Yeah.
Because now he can detach 3 materials and even use the Big Bang again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and here comes also the Rise Art as well. And I think here Sonnhj found a way to out the Baguska and also potentially closing this game in this turn. Here comes another material for our Rise Art.
And this is well played by Sonnhj, who can go for an XYZ, and unless there is a very slow rolled Nibiru in the end from Connor, I think this is definitely going to be over in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, also the Diablos is being summoned here from Sonnhj, but now with the I Rise Heart effect, he gets rid of.
Yeah, we mentioned how it's really cool to see one of the YCS prize cards being played at this level of success, and this is number 89, Diablosis, which can do so much in this deck, getting rid of basically 16 cards very, very easily with one of the most basic combos of the deck going first. And yeah, Connor has seen enough. He picks up his cards, and it is Sonnhj who wins game 1. What a show of dominance by the Italian player. There was just a little moment of worrying, but he had both the Impermanence and the Book of Eclipse to prevent a Zeus from coming down. And with that being the case, there was not much that could have gone wrong.
No, exactly, especially because like he immediately fixed, let's say, that small, you know, misstep, but I think he played really well throughout the Bagusk, and then also, you know, he found his way to seal the game in just the turn, not giving his opponent another chance, you know, to advance into the turn. And yeah, I mean, I think he showcased us how powerful the Kashtira deck is. Well, on the other side, Connors, now looking at the side deck, he has a lot of different options, honestly, and I like the variety, honestly, of his side deck in general.
Absolutely, it's very unique. As mentioned in the main deck, he already has 3 copies of Nibiru. Those are going to stay there, I can tell you that much. But for the rest, he has a lot of one-offs.
Yeah, he has a lot of one-offs. He has the Tearlaments Crime. Also, he plays 3 triple tactic thrust, which might go in if you really feels
which is the main reason why he has that many one-offs of trap cards, such as Metaverse and Dimensional Barrier, because essentially those are, unless something weird happens, you know, kind of like playing 4-offs because of the trust.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, I don't think he's siding that much in. While on the other end, the Sonnhj, as we mentioned, has a very unique deck in the main deck, because he's playing Cherry, Shifter, and Ash Blossom alongside Impermanence. So he's basically maining 12 cards already, plus, as we have seen, the Book of Eclipse.
Yeah.
So the main deck is already quite stable, I would say. But the side deck is also really solid.
Yeah, the side deck is as well super solid because he's playing, I think, your favorite card ever.
Guess what? I mentioned it previously, but Sonnhj has listened to me and is giving one last ride to the Sanctum Artifact Site combo. So I definitely want to see that. I doubt we'll see it in game 2 if we go to a game 3, but we'll see it surely coming in. Our players, though, are ready. So let's just go back to the table and find out the winner of game 2. Here they are, and again, this time it will be Connor who goes first, tries to go through one of his combos. As we mentioned, he also has quite a unique list with set rotation and a few Kashtira cards. But we see the cherry, I think.
Here comes the Eastern Fusion and Sonnhj.
Ooh, but what a punish.
Does he have cherry?
Because I'm pretty sure he has cherry and he cannot use it. So it's the biggest punish, the Eastern Fusion, because it needs your opponent to have a monster.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, it can be a really good card, but the one Eastern Fusion is the huge punish for this card. Very unfortunate here by Sonnhj, who will quickly need to find out another card, and it's not easy to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, because now here you really have to think about on where to activate the cherry on, because you're also looking at Sonnhj extra deck. He might be holding it and doing on either Sprite Elf or the Zeus. That's the only two cards he can actually banish from Connor's extra deck.
Very unfortunate, as we mentioned. It would have been devastating any other situation. But now it's more of a negative than a positive in his hand. But now, let's see these mills.
But there's the shifter.
But there is shifter, never mind.
Wow, okay.
He has both. So shifter coming down from Sonnhj. What a shock. This is huge.
Yeah, this is very powerful, honestly, here, because now your opponent is basically forced either into go and pass. Okay, there's the thrust, never mind. With the thrust, he might be taking the dimensional barrier, honestly. I think he took the barrier. We missed it.
Yeah, but as expected, he just sets a couple of face down cards and has to pass back to his opponent. Did he just set one?
I think he sets.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think he said one, maybe.
That's very unfortunate
Yeah.
for Sonnhj. Yeah.
Wow.
Only a couple of face down cards, no Kashtiras for Sonnhj. And this shifter, which looked like it could have been the easy path to a 2-0, has actually just been the best card in his hand. He doesn't have anything else going on, which is great news for Connor fans out there, who is now in the driver's seat to take this game. Still, he has to play without the Kid Kalos, which isn't that easy to do. But, I mean, when you're up against a couple of back rows, which most likely are not going to do much, you'll take it.
And now he sends to the graveyard the Shayrin, and yeah, it looks like maybe Sonnhj might be holding an Infinite Impermanence. Let's see.
Yeah, going through his options, he's gonna probably have to get rid of the Zeus, or no?
Maybe he was hoping that he
Yeah.
had another Kid Carlos.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you can see Sonnhj smiling, he got bluffed, I guess, or just as you mentioned, there are quite a few people playing Chu, so he had to take the risk and he banished, declared at least the Kid Carlos, but his opponent is only playing the one copy and will now attack, but we see an enemy controller.
Okay.
Why though? Do you think it's necessary to use it here?
No, I think I will just, you know, kept it.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's
it's not over
at all.
Yeah.
Like you would keep it all the time, especially because it's amazing with Zeus. If now your opponent commits to a Baguska, for example, you take it. So unfortunate here from the Italian, and let's see, we could see the dark. Yeah, that is the case. With this can then turn into a sprint, and Beatrice is the way we have seen this already previously on today.
Yeah.
Great recognition by Connor, and as mentioned, this is looking rough for the Italian player who has an Ash, but this is just such a minus.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing that Sonnhj can do at this point.
One last draw to save the day. Does he pick up anything? He's gonna get a draw phase activation of the Beatrice. Only entraps in the graveyard from Sonnhj. And yeah, we get to see the Sherin. Shuffling back a couple of cards. Let's see. Yeah. We see the Kaleido just getting rid of the last card from Sonnhj, which is... Let's see.
It was
another enemy controller, yeah. What a end.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate for him. Yeah.
Yeah, very unfortunate end. Only 2 cards left, and yeah, he picks up his cards. Unfortunately, the shifter was not enough. We are going to game 3.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just how life goes. I am pretty sure Connor Hart stopped for a moment when he saw that shifter. He was probably just thinking, oh well, this is over, and I'm going at least to the next round with my first defeat. But never say never. He kept his composure, and in the end he was able to, thanks to the very, very low power end from the Italian, he had nothing to do.
Yeah,
he pretty much had all of these main deck or side deck cards for the matchup, but he was missing the Kashtiras.
Yeah.
And without them,
some pieces, you cannot do anything basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now, as mentioned, honestly, I am happier that we are gonna see a game 3 for one main reason, that is Artifact Sanctum, one of my favorite cards of all time, and now we'll see it in action from the Italian, because he's siding 3 copies of the alongside Dimensional Barrier. So he's going really aggressive, going first in this matchup. We'll see if that pays off, but I gotta say I like it.
Yeah, no, I really like the idea, honestly, because I think your deck is very set up for this kind of matchup, and also in general, if you go second, having both the shifter and the cherries, I mean, in that situation, of course, with the Eastern Future, you cannot get rid of the Kick Colors, but in general, also if you go first, you have the Grave Creeper Inscription, which...
Yeah, it's even more. Basically going first, he has 3 Sanctum, 3 Inscription, and 2 Barriers, which is so much alongside the shifters that can really understand why he's doing so well. And we have mentioned it, how in these huge events with, as mentioned, basically 2,400 players, you really need to win those early rounds to guarantee to play against tier.
Yeah.
So our players are basically ready, so let's go to the table to find out who will be the winner of round 7. Okay. Let's see the start, and it is the inscription, which we have not seen too much of yet, but it's such a great card from the Italian. It can do so much. It will be used to pretty much prevent the effects in the graveyard from Connor asking for a translation, but great card because it prevents them for both turns.
Yeah.
So will not only negate any possible Avnis in the end, but the next turn will be shut down completely. And now even the Prosperity to search for some of his combo cards. This is looking like a very strong opening by Sonnhj.
Yeah, because now he's going to banish 6 cards, and let's see what he picks up. A Unicorn will be really good, for example.
Yeah, any of those cards, and here is the Sanctum. You can see how much he doesn't want to lose this one, but yeah, the Unicorn is the last one. If he needed some combo pieces, it will be that. And yeah, Unicorn is one of the best way to do it. As you can see, Connor not really happy with that, but that how Sonnhj built his deck. And yeah, he will get to special summon it, most likely accessing the Theosis, and this is the basic full combo of Kashtira.
Yeah, so basically just starting with Unicorn, you can set up on the field the Shangri-La, plus the Diablosis if you really want to, and just the Unicorn alone. So
it does so much, and as expected, you see the Theosis here. Let's see if there is a response from Connor. Let's not forget about Nibiru, because that's an option. It could be in the end. And we'll see if Sonnhj is even interested in playing around it.
Yeah, I really like the Grave Creeper inscription, actually, because he's playing, 3 of them, 3 Sanctum, 2 Barrier, honestly.
So much.
So powerful.
He really doesn't want to risk it. And it's similar to how Flow Wanderers as well plays with the the Feather Storms going first. I like that. You have these auto-win buttons that you can push when you go first. As Red Rebuke is not an option anymore.
Yeah.
And I see one of the Nibirus being banished, which makes it less likely that one was in the end from Connor.
And I'm curious to see him, because basically Sonnhj did not banish the Big Bang, which we saw revealed with the Prosperity, so he doesn't have it in end.
He might play around Nibiru, because this is... Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So I think pretty interesting decision by Sonnhj.
Yeah. Nibiru that Connors drew for turn.
Yeah, Nibiru was not in the end, but it is now. So he drew it, and Sonnhj decided to play around it by stopping at 4 summons when, as you mentioned, he could have gone a step further.
And I think this is in general well played. Just you don't really want to risk anything, honestly.
Yeah, so with the inscription, really you can afford it. And now we see a set rotation come down. The only interesting thing is that in this matchup, he cannot really use it to the full power because he's forced to get the Kashtira.
Exactly.
In other matchups, it's interesting because you can choose whichever you want to get, and I like it as a choice. It's definitely interesting. But in this matchup, you have to get the Kashtira.
Yeah.
So. Let's see, because now he gets the Fenrir, I believe. It's one of the few cards he has in the deck, right?
Yeah.
And he will use it probably to try and attack to activate this effect. Let's see.
Would you have activated, though, the Arise Art on the planet?
I guess he's considering it, but then he probably wants to wait. And I agree with you that it could have been worth it. Let's see. At the same time, it's not that big of a punish. You can play around the Fenrir. But let's see. In case it doesn't chain directly to it. So you can get rid of the Fenrir. But I agree with you that he could have thought about it. But maybe, it could be a bluff if he has the Ferrari in the end. But I think he didn't wait for it. He's gonna allow it. And this is definitely an interesting decision by Sonnhj. Because now this does not allow you to do much. You have to wait for the start of battle phase, I think.
Yeah. Now he goes for the Shireen.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Now defender gets activated. That's why I was.
Yeah.
I think I would have used the Arizer.
No, yeah, I think Sonnhj didn't catch this. Unfortunately, might be the nerves of playing on future that gets to him. But this is definitely a misstep in the way he has been playing until now. Unfortunate, because honestly, he had every tool he needed to win this game smoothly. I don't think anything could have gone wrong, and unfortunately he didn't catch his opponent intention, which was, as mentioned, using Shireen for this exact reason. Because even then, he could have actually chained to the Shireen the Arisart on the Ferrier, and he didn't see it.
Exactly. I think that... okay, also, he also has
and we see the instant
fusion.
fusion, okay.
The thing is that basically if you go the Arisart on the planet, you basically prevent your opponent selfing your own Arisart. That's the thing.
I agree you can wait, but it doesn't really matter. I think as long as the Ferry hits the field, you just have to do it. It's too risky. And now it's an issue. Now he risks it. There are also 10 minutes left, which means that his opponent is getting ahead on life. And Sonnhj has 3 cars in his hand. So now he goes up to 4. Let's see what he picks up. Ooh, and it's a trap, which is huge. Getting a trap is huge because it turns the redoer into an effective removal. Spinning one back. Let's see if Sonnhj has enough.
This is very powerful. The impermanence is very, very good hit for KONAMI.
Yeah, Birth is definitely a good way to start things off. But yeah, as we mentioned, the redoer is really, really good.
Yeah.
Trap was by far the best he could have revealed here.
Here you can just go for the Fenrir. So at least, I think I will go for the Fenrir. Then use Fenrir's effect to get maybe the Unicorn, and then you get the Theosis.
Yeah, he's gonna just read the redoer to make sure he knows what's going on here. And it's surprising that he didn't use it, right?
Yeah. Okay, goes for the Unicorn instead.
Because he could have used it to just bounce back the Birth.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, gets the Theosis with the Unicorn.
Yeah, he can flip it. Sonnhj checking if adding a Tearlament was mandatory, but it's not. It's not like Oracle of Zephyra, which is the key spiral combo that used to be played. But yeah, now we get to see this, and Connor is not really interacting.
He could have done the redoer here, and Sonnhj would have, he would have not have summoned it.
Now we get to see the Ferrier in action once again.
Because I'm thinking on, what do you think Connor wants to use the redoer then?
Yeah, it's definitely tough to figure out. I agree. I would have even used it as soon as the birth came down, to be fair. But
Yeah, but also I think it was good to use it on the Theosis.
for sure.
Because like you put it on the top and you don't resolve.
Which at the same time was greedy on both sides because Sonnhj could have also just entered battle phase before. But it's working out, and now we get to see the big eye. Nice. Something we have not seen since the Dragon Rulers, I feel like. Such a long time ago. What a throwback. I think they're just giving his opponent a translation. I mean, can't blame him. If you have not played, this card was probably played the last time in 2013, which is 10 years ago, by the way. I feel old now.
Seems yesterday.
Yeah, I feel really old. But yeah, now finally he decides to go for the redoer. I don't know why he has been waiting for so long. Honestly, on both sides, I feel like they risked it way too much that I would have been comfortable with. Yep. And now we get to see a play from Connor himself. Going for the Kit Kalos, which will be negated by Ash Blossom. Interesting.
Let's see if now Sonnhj has a way
it's
to
not
deal with this.
That easy, but I think it starts things off. Is it the Scareclaw? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is the Scareclaw. Does he have something else? He does. So he normal summons, gets it back, as mentioned, by banishing the Theosis. So this was great by the Italian.
Wow, there's
ooh, but there is the Nibiru, as we knew. But yeah, we gotta act as if we're Sonnhj now. And this hurts so much, also because of the Kit Kalos.
Yeah.
They're just counting the summons, of course. But yeah, it was 5, for sure. Summoned so many monsters this turn.
Yeah.
I think it's even more than 5. Just counting down some attack points, but yeah, I think this won't be pleasant from the Italian, especially because now the Kit Kalos also gets the trigger.
Yeah. Nibiru comes down here, and unfortunately for Sonnhj, now 5 cards being milled.
Kind of a whiff, but it depends if he has a card. He does not.
Okay.
So a complete whiff on the mills, giving the little bit of hope left by Sonnhj, who passes back, I think, to his opponent.
Yeah.
Well, this time will activate the Druid Swarm, and this makes it so that he can play next turn and try and push for game quite easily.
I think you can go for Dark.
Yeah, even just Dark, if there is a target, would be enough. Let's see. Is there anything in the grave from Sonnhj that he can take? He's gonna go for Dark, use the Druid Wisdom to just destroy the token. And yeah, check the graveyard, and I think Connor is doing a great job. Let's see. Probably there won't be one, so he just enters battle phase, so giving his opponent another turn.
There was no target.
Yeah, there were no darks. So now he has probably been forced to either go for a sprint. Yeah. I think you cannot risk it. It's gonna go for a sprint.
Yeah.
sending them early, and one last turn remaining then after this for Sonnhj to try and fight back with 1000 life points and 3 minutes on the clock. Kaleido hits the field, a face down is back, and yeah, Sonnhj with his shoulders against the wall, trying to stay in this game with just 3 minutes remaining, does so by using Birth as the first card. Definitely a great option to start things off, but he needs to play as quickly as possible. He really is in a tough spot. And yeah, even the Saliek, wow. This hurts a lot, yeah. This seems like it will be too much now. As Kaleido is summoned back and he even gets to go into another fusion. Yeah, well played.
Yeah.
Now gets rid of the Birth. And could go into a Stapelia if he feels like that's safe enough to guarantee the game. Let's see, Sonnhj really needing a miracle to stay in this with 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
He has to go into the big eye again, but there is the Stapelia there.
Yeah.
It's gonna enter battle phase to attack over sprint, the interesting choice there. And yeah, here comes the Zeus.
Yeah.
With this Stapelia negating it, and yeah, Sonnhj not really recognizing once again the spot he was in. Unfortunately, just has to set a face down card and pass play back to his opponent.
Yeah, quite unfortunate for Sonnhj.
Yeah.
There was nothing else that he could have done.
It seems like we will see an handshake quite soon. An attack is declared, the Sanctum flipped, just trying to stay in this game as much as he can. With this site being used defensively, at least I got to see one used. I can't complain too much about it. But yeah. Only a matter of seconds now before time is called, and Connor has been declared the winner, as you can see here, even using the trust. And yeah, time is called, handshake, and it is Connor who wins round 7. What a match and what a way to do it. Both players giving him all they had to take this round 7. Amazing, amazing show off. We mentioned it at the beginning. Both successful and known players in their own community. Connor in the UK and Sonnhj in Italy. But they really tried their best to claim and go with a 7-0 record. In the end, unfortunately though, it was more of a one-side show, I think, from both sides, trying their best. But the comeback was accomplished by Connor, who I gotta say, credits to both. But Connor losing game 1. Game 2, he sees a shifter and he's able to come back from a shifter. And then in game 3, once again, crushing opening by his opponent. But I gotta say, a little bit of a misstep by Sonnhj with the Ferrir situation. Could have handled it a lot better,
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
would have
say.
used it on the blind, unfortunately. I think that would have been quite different.
For sure, but sometimes that's how it is. Nerves can get to you. Hopefully, Sonnhj will be able to stay in this, and we'll see it again in the top cut.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for being with us. This was our last future match, at least talking about the Italian team. Me and Alberto will leave you to the lovely Germans, and we'll see you tomorrow at the beginning for the first round of day 2. Me and Alberto will be back. So thank you for having us, but now our winner Connor is ready with Ed.
Thank you, Marcello. Yes, I am here with Connor, who's just won round 7 here of our feature match. Congratulations. So talk to us a little bit about your deck, because it's tier, but with a bit of Bestial, with a bit of Kashtira. Talk to us a bit about the composition of your deck.
Right, so it's very standard. It's took inspiration from like Waterjewel and the list before and the list I played at Dortmund. So I'm only on 1 Miller, like 1 Fenrir, this tiniest little cash package for set rotation. As I just wanted more copies of Planet, and Planet is the card that wins you the games all the time, so just max out on those.
Out of curiosity, why not any of the Ishizu ones in there?
So in the mirrors, the better players, when you invent all this chaos in the game, right, you go like 5 on sleep, 5 on side, you get like channeling 10, especially for these longer round tournaments, you're going to fatigue. And I just didn't want to fatigue, and I didn't want to add that added variance in, because without that variance, I'm better than my opponent. So there's no point giving them an opportunity to steal a game off me where I'm just going to win anyway when I'm better than them. So.
Okay, good confidence. Okay, so let's go through some of the plays there, because there was quite a lot going on. There's a lot of back and forth with Kashtira. So there was a lot of the Book of Eclipse defensively in game 1 from him.
Yeah.
What were you thinking at that moment? Because that was an unusual choice, but it worked.
So I was trying to, he knew that I knew I was trying to go for Zeus, right? So I had to bait the first pop, which was fine. Got into Baguska, so I'm threatening Zeus there. So the moment I go battle phase, it's like it's signaled, right? He knows. So that's fine. He booked it, and it's whatever. And actually, like, it's super nice for me because when it comes back up, it's in defense. So then he's locked, right? So I managed to have both positions on once. So yeah, it's really good. Yeah, so the Eclipse was like just a solid play for him.
And then there was a number of different bits with Tribute Summoning Shifter to make Donna Dagger for hire, to out the Baguska, the Rise Heart really laying on the pressure for you. But then with the Diablosis, the Mind Hacker, you ended up just Scooby. So what's going through your mind with all those?
You really need to draw non-engine versus Cash. And I just didn't draw any non-engine, so engine versus engine, Cash is just way better. It's like, it just destroys you like when it's engine versus engine. And then we saw that like games 2 and 3 when like started drawing more of the non-engine cards. I had a bit more of an edge. So yeah, just keep it up, give more time for games 2 and 3. Try and draw that non-engine and just play my game. Yeah.
So you were having confidence, knowing it doesn't matter, I can scoop on this and then try and bring it back in the next 2 games.
Yeah, it wasn't winnable anyway. So game 1 was just a complete blowout, and that's how it goes sometimes.
That is how it goes sometimes. A positive outlook. But let's go into game 2. So immediate instant fusion for you. But then there was the Dimension Shifter, set 2 pass. So clearly a brick from him and sort of making you think, right. So when you see that, what's going through your mind to take advantage of that situation?
I just want to play assertively. Don't want to give him any like chances to win. I managed to thrust for D-Shifter, and I have search meta noise. So like, the moment he even starts playing, it's like it's already over. If you have to set a dimensional barrier and you're not flipping it turn 2, it's over. It's curtains.
Because there was also the Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. Basically, this was a really hard round for him, or a hard game, because it just bad luck after bad luck. But that Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries, declare the Kit Kalos, you only have 1.
Yeah, I'm not scared. There's actually theory to it. So if you're playing 2 kit, 1 Zeus, and if you're playing 1 kit, 1 Zeus, they're still taking Zeus, because that's the thing that breaks the board. So there's no point playing a second slot and having a 14 card extra deck when, again, I've only played 1 cash this event, so it hasn't come up. And and it's spot. There's better cards, so. No point.
You exude confidence and calmness about this deck. It's interesting to see. So there was a lot of things. The Dark to Summon Shifter from Sonnhj's Grave, overlaid with the Garura for Beatrice. Then there was the Fusion Collider Heart using Pellerino on enemy controller. So basically, he bricked the 2 set enemy controllers, no follow-up to Shifter, so he scooped. We then get into game 3. The Gravekeeper's Inscription from Sonnhj, which is basically another Shifter, so you're inhaling through your teeth there. So what's that say to you when that immediately comes out turn 1?
It's an uphill battle from there. It is uphill, and it's the same as Shifter. Now they printed a second Shifter, so you've got to deal with it, right? 6 copies of Shifter, so yeah, I'm thinking like I've got to get lucky. I've got to like draw into my non-engine, and my hand was like no non-engine either. So yeah, I managed to pull it out somehow.
But yeah, it was lots of things like the Rise Heart getting 3 level 7s for a Rise Heart, and then you banished the Rise Heart with Fenrir. The big interaction between Big Eye and Time Thief Redoer as well, and then Time Thief Redoer was sort of doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. The Kit Kalos got hit by Ash Blossom. Yeah. And then he got hit by the Nibiru. So I think everyone on stream might have seen you draw the Nib, and they were waiting for that. So you were really keeping patience there for that.
Yeah. So I set it up so I could like start milling during my turn, but like I drew the Nib, and then I'm thinking to myself, I don't actually have to like try and RNG it with the Kashtira kit to Kashtira tier anymore, because I'm able just to like make kit, search. Obviously, it got negated, but that's fine because the body's still on board. And the moment I'm Nib, it's like I'm milling 5, so I'm milling more cards. So again, it just made it better for me drawing the Nib. And yeah, the Nib was what blew it out in the end. So and then also his misplay would let me Fenrir the Rise Heart. If he doesn't let me do that, he probably wins. He wins the game, yeah, for sure.
But he didn't win the game. You won the game, and you won this round. So congratulations. The penultimate round of today. We've only got one more. So what's your score now?
I'm 7-0. 7-0. So
pretty good.
So far. Yeah, it is good, but anything can happen. Anything can.
But is there anything that you're a bit anxious about going up against with your current deck? You seem pretty confident about all of this, so I think you're probably going against everything with sort of an open mind, ability to go forward.
Yeah, there's no real bad matchup. There's obviously the matchups like the other Shifter decks. They are what they are. You prepare for them, you play them, and you know if they have it, they have it. So
I admire your attitude, Connor. I really wish you the best of luck throughout this. Congratulations again on this round. Guys, don't go anywhere. We've got one more of these rounds, and then that's it for today. But then we've got loads more Swiss and all of our top cuts coming tomorrow. But there's still one more to go. We'll see you shortly.